Hare Krishna, Namaste. Chapter 12, which is entitled as Bhakti Yoga. Chapter 12, Sloka 1. Ata dvādasodhyāyah Arjuna uvāca evaṁ satata-yuktā bhaktās tvāṁ paryupāsate ye cāpy akṣaram avyaktaṁ teṣāṁ ke yoga-vittamāḥ. We are in the last chapter of the second part of Bhagavad Gita. In the first part, that is the first section, chapter 1 to 6, we did a thorough study of understanding Atma and the means to attain the Atma or to see the Atma through the process of karma and jnana yoga. Then in the second section part, that is chapter 7 onwards, we learned about Paramatma, the supreme absolute truth is Sri Krishna. Krishna is the only absolute truth, is Brahman, is Paramatma. He is the cause of all causes. He is the complete controller. He has the complete lordship over everything. He is the owner of both spiritual and material world. Everything else that we can think of, everyone else that we can think of, are all subordinate to Krishna. They are all part and parcel of Krishna. For the devotees, the ultimate final goal for their practice of bhakti is to attain Krishna. This is what we have learned so far in nutshell. Arjuna desired to see the unrestricted opulences, glory of Krishna. And Krishna, whose sankalpa, the resolve, is always true, also revealed his glory, his vibhuti, his opulences, as it is in actuality to Arjuna by giving him the divine eyes. Further, in chapter 11, Krishna had declared that it is only through exclusive bhakti, devotion towards him, with no regard for any other benefit, would it be possible to know him, to see him directly, and to attain him in actuality. And there is no other means other than bhakti, exclusive bhakti, that one can understand him, know him, see him, then what to speak of attaining him. And this is the same message is being given as concluding statements in many other scriptures, including Upanishad, that it is only through exclusive bhakti, devotion towards Krishna, that one can know him, see him, and attain him. There's no other means. There's no other means. There's no other means other than bhakti. Then why do we have so many other processes? They are all there for one to gradually progress and come to the stage of unalloyed devotion towards Krishna. That's all. As we are coming to the last chapter, last part of the middle section, which is all about bhakti, let us be very clear on this point, that it is bhakti which is the only means by which we can attain Krishna. and one who attains Krishna will never return back into this material world. And that is not the case with any other process or worship of any other devatas. As we saw in the introduction section, there are 5 topics which are mainly discussed in this chapter 12, which is entitled as Bhakti Yoga, which has only 20 slokas. Number 1, devotion to Krishna is faster to fulfill its purpose. Number 2, the means for devotion, the bhakti. Number 3, for those who are incapable of following Bhakti Yoga, the options are being given, the method and requisites for meditation on the self and so forth. Number 4, the qualities that must be cultivated by the practitioners of yoga. Number 5, those who practice bhakti to Krishna, holding him alone as the only goal to be attained. The Lord holds them as exceedingly dear to him. This is the 5th point that is also covered in chapter 12. With that said, let's see the word by word meaning. Arjuna uvāca, Arjuna said, evaṁ, thus as stated earlier, bhaktās, those devotees, satata-yuktā, desiring to be ever united with you, tvāṁ, paryupāsate, properly worship, yecha, also those, avyaktaṁ, the unmanifested, akṣaram, on the nature of the immutable individual self, paryupāsate, worship, teṣāṁ, of these two, who yoga-vittamāḥ, the most perfect in knowledge of yoga. That is, which one gives faster result. Translation. Arjuna inquired, which are considered to be most perfect? Those who are always properly engaged in your devotional service, or those who worship the impersonal Brahman, the unmanifested? That's a question raised by Arjuna in this opening sloka number 1. And the rest of the chapter, starting from sloka 2 to 20, it's all Krishna's slokas. Therefore, this one sloka and the response to this one sloka makes the entire chapter, which means we should be clearly understanding what Arjuna's question is. If we don't understand that, then the rest of the sloka, rest of the chapter is going to make no sense. Therefore, let's understand what is that Arjuna trying to ask. From whatever Arjuna has learned so far from Krishna, he has understood that there are 3 categories of people. One, who are very much inclined and interested and attached to the aishwarya, the material things, wanting of material gains, longevity, money, fame, enjoyment, etc. They are called the aishwaryarthis, and is not considering them to be part of discussion. It's obvious because those people's intention and desires are nothing to do with spirituality. They are very much entangled into the material realm. So leaving them aside, there are other two categories of people who are spiritualists. One who's interested in the self, that is Atma, and the second one who's interested in Paramatma. So Arjuna's question revolves only between these two. And also we should know that this sloka has couple of variations that being presented by different acharyas. Number one is two types of spiritualists which are being mentioned here by the terms bhaktās and by the terms avyaktaṁ and akṣaram. Everyone is stating the same on the bhakti, the first category, that is the bhaktās through performing bhakti yoga. The variation comes with a second one, which is mentioned by avyaktaṁ and akṣaram. The first variation is where it is interpreted as the impersonal worship, whereas the previous one, that is the bhakti yogi, does personal worship. Whereas the other interpretation, the variation we see on the second category, is one who does Atma upasana, worshipper of Atma. So that's the only variation. The second variation is which one is better among these two worshippers, or is Arjuna asking which one gives faster result? Pretty much they are very close in the way it's been interpreted. Therefore, again, these variations are to enrich the study of Bhagavad Gita, not to contradict. So let's keep that in mind as we read these slokas. And also we will be using interchangeably certain terms because of this variation. Let's keep whatever we discussed so far as an introduction to the first sloka, and we'll continue the details in the next section. Namaste, Hare Krishna.
Mm-hmm.